Welcome. Hi, everyone. So welcome to this introduction to meditation. We'll be talking about how to start your meditation, how to begin, how to learn this tool and be effective with it. So get set for have a little bit of fun and enjoy and go from there. So one of the first things I want to start with is just by saying thank you. Right away, thank you, by the way, for taking time to take care of yourself. I appreciate your time and your willingness to be here and your trust with me to check this out, to learn a little bit more, and maybe make some changes in your life so that you can enjoy and spread that gift to more people along the way. The happier you are, the more effective you are, the better it is for yourself and everybody around you. And we need a little bit more of that in the world today. So thank you for being here. However far you take this, I appreciate you already. For anybody that doesn't know me, just a moment to kind of know that I am a licensed psychologist. I've been doing this work for 25 years with mental health, addictions, and a whole range of other things. I used to work at one point with the Secretary of Drug and Alcohol programs in Pennsylvania. Got a couple of different best-selling books. And if you want to learn more, you can always catch up with me. My contact information is down below there. This is stuff that I love to talk about, so I am pretty responsive. And actually, most of the work that I do comes from requests from folks. So if there are things that you need or things that would be helpful, let me know. I'm happy to help. So just a framework to get started with. There's an old story about the fish comes swimming upstream and says to the other fish, "How's the water over there?" And the other fish says, "What's water?" This is kind of like what it was like for me, and maybe it's like for you as well. Years ago, I was, working, going to school, running around like crazy. And it gets to the point where that feels normal. And the challenge was that I was so busy being busy that I didn't know how unnormal that was. So this is about when I found meditation and yoga and things like this, which really helped me to build some awareness about what I was doing. Was it working for me? And how to change it. Awareness is a critical element that if you're not aware of something, you can't ever change it. And so it's an important tool that you learn in meditation, but it's a life skill that's really valuable for relationships, for effectiveness at your job, for all of that. So just want to stop for a moment and also begin to think about what challenges do you think about with meditation? What are some things that you've experienced or you've worried about with meditation? I can't do that because blah, blah, blah. So some of the most common things that are certainly out there, yes, are about things like I don't have time. Absolutely, I hear that all the time. There is concern that, well, I don't have time to meditate. I wanted to do that, but it's too busy and this and that and the other. It's not true, but we'll talk about that. Okay. So how do we begin to unpack some of these things? And it's too hard. Yes, that's another thing that I hear all the time. I sat down to meditate and my mind started chattering away. And so it just didn't work for me. So these two both are the two top issues that I hear again and again of challenges with meditation, and both of them are wrong, but we'll explain that and figure that out over the course of the next hour or so. Because as you begin to understand what meditation is about, it's not difficult. It's actually quite easy, and you find that you just don't have time not to meditate. It actually creates time. So we'll talk more about that along the way. In The other thing I would wonder about is in the next hour, if you learn how to meditate properly, how do you think the next 24 hours of your life might look and feel different? So you came here, you're sharing this time, you identify that you want to learn this meditation thing. What is it that you want to change in your life? How's life going to improve if this meditation thing does work? Now, for everybody, that's a little bit different. So some people start their meditation because they're stressed, or their mind is racing, or they're depressed, or anxious, or maybe they just get angry at their spouse and they want to be a better person and have a smoother relationship. Sometimes folks are stressed at their job, and so they want to figure out how do I bring a little more ease there so I can be a little more productive, and so I don't get fired and I don't have to worry about being fired. So for some folks, they're worried about pain. Maybe they have pain in their back and their hips and their shoulders, headaches, jaw. As we carry tensions, these can exacerbate pain. So different people start into this meditation journey for different reasons. And begin to think about a little bit more, what's your reason? What would you like to get out of this time? If you've got this meditation thing down, how can life be different that makes it worth it? Okay. There may be multiple reasons. You may say, I want all of that. And I'm the same way. It's like, and the good news is, you don't do meditation just for one of those things. You do it and everything else comes along. It's a bonus, So this is one of the things I love about meditation. It's like you just go sit and relax a few minutes and all this good stuff happens. So we'll talk a little more about that along the way as well. So for this discussion, I want to just lay out some of the goals, such as what are some of the best reasons to meditate? What are the actual steps to meditation? This is where I see people get stuck all the time. And this is one of the common problems that people have is they don't know how to meditate, or they thought they were doing it, but they weren't doing it right. And so part of the struggle that they're facing is not a problem with meditation, but that they weren't taught properly. Okay. What is the meditation time myth? We'll talk a little about that. There's a number of elements of time as it relates to meditation. What are two key challenges keys to fixing meditation challenges? So when I get stuck, how do I unlock the solutions? And why is meditation my favorite tool? Some of you know me from my work with the bestselling, my first bestseller, the Manage My Emotions. It is just a toolbox of tools and tricks and ways to handle anxiety and ways to handle anger and ways to handle grief, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But out of all of them, meditation is my favorite. I'm still a toolbox person. I love to have a range of tools, but there's a reason why doing a whole talk just on this one technique, it absolutely is my favorite. And it may be yours as well. You may try it out for a while and discover that you like a different thing better. It's all good. But I'll at least begin to help you understand how to make this work for you if it's the right fit for you. All righty. So take a second to think about who meditates. There are 200 to 500 million people worldwide that are meditating. So we're in good company, okay? There are famous actors and actresses like, Hugh Jackman, Jennifer Aniston, Jet Li, Clint Eastwood, Angelina Jolie, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Keanu Reeves. There's singers, you may have heard of somebody named Madonna, Paul McCartney. Athletes use this, like Kobe Bryant, right? Michael Jordan. Famous leaders are into this as well, such as Oprah Winfrey, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, George Lucas. So I begin to wonder, when all these successful people are doing this meditation thing, what is it that they see in it? What is it that they make the time for meditation for? And I suspect, I mean, I don't know Oprah Winfrey, but I suspect that they experience some of the same things that I do and love about it, and find that it is a part of their success. So, some of you know me, I am a lover of research, so don't worry, it's only a couple of slides if it's not your thing, but just to know that the research on meditation is extensive. You know, I mean, you see just a couple of my bookshelves. I got a whole library, and there is an entire bookshelf just of the research on meditation. Okay, so I've done the simplicity of just pulling out a few of the key ones there to give you a taste of some of the benefits. So, for example, meditation has a whole range of physical benefits. It helps the brain, helps to think better, to think with more concentration, coordinate thinking processes from left and right hemispheres. It helps the heart. So there are cardiovascular benefits for health. Hormones, there are controlled studies taking a look at hormonal changes just from sitting and meditating. Weight can help to reduce that stress eating. And there's some studies that find that, for example, those that meditate will lose an average of 5 pounds just from meditating. There's many reasons why that could be. One of the thinkings about it is that by reducing the stress levels and by reducing the stress eating, those are ways that that really helps. Meditation also has a whole range of mental benefits. Improves concentration, memory, mood. It helps concentration. This builds over time. And these are things that help us to be more productive at work, more successful at work, make fewer mistakes at the office. There are emotional benefits. It's been found to improve stress and well-being, treat anxiety and depression without the side effects. Meditation can help with and work collaboratively with cognitive therapy, which is one of the standard talk therapies for anxiety and other disorders. So it's not exclusive. You don't need to just meditate and you can't go do anything else. It can support other approaches that you're using, which are also very valuable, and they work collaboratively in different ways. Meditation also has a range of applied benefits. At work, it's been found to help improve positive leadership, task performance, effectiveness at leadership, reducing stress and burnout in the workplace, which is a huge issue for employers, because as we get burnt out, we are less effective, we make more mistakes, we have more physical health problems, there's more staff turnover. So it's a significant cost savings and time savings element, especially in the workforce. Meditation also improves relationships. Think about it. When I'm stressed, how present am I when I'm listening to my loved one? So it really can help us to listen better, to be better present, to be less angry, to be more kind, be more connected in our relationships. It's a wide range of benefits. So let's get a taste of this. I invite you to try this out now. You may begin just by taking a couple of moments and wriggle around and just find a comfortable position, whatever that means to you. If you are feeling comfortable, you can close your eyes. And begin to notice, as you let everything go, what's happening with the breath. See if you can begin to be aware of the beginning and middle and end of each inhalation. The beginning and middle and end of each exhalation. The beginning and middle and end of each inhalation. Beginning and middle and end of each exhalation. You may begin to notice where the lung moves as you breathe. Do you notice it in your chest or in your belly? You may begin to notice if the breath is shallow or deep. You may find that the breath continues to change as soon as you start to notice these things. And just observe whatever is happening on the inside there for the next couple breaths. As you slowly become aware of the room that you're sitting in, bring your awareness back, you may begin to open the eyes, gazing downward, bringing this awareness with you back into the room as you open your eyes fully. So just begin to notice, what was that like for you? What happened inside there? A couple of things you may begin to notice. There may have been breathing going on, and there may have been changes in the breath. Notice how it does change. Just bringing awareness to the breath already immediately begins to change it. It's kind of like if a baby is crying, sometimes the baby needs to be fed or changed, but sometimes the baby just needs to be held. That awareness alone is healing. So just by bringing awareness to our breath, it may begin to change immediately. Okay? Now, you may have also noticed some thoughts come through. And if that happened, that's okay. Actually, it probably did happen. Absolutely. You know, this is a part of the practice, is identifying what my thoughts are and recognizing what the experience is on the inside. On occasion, people will say that the thoughts were just so much, and think that it's the meditation thing causing those thoughts. And that's not quite it at all. Our thoughts are racing like that all day long already. The issue is that when we sit down and be quiet a moment, we become aware of how much our racing thoughts are happening. Okay? So meditation is the tool to ease that, not the cause of it. That's real important. Let's play a little bit more here. So a word or two of history. Know that meditation is estimated to be some 5,000 years old that we can track. There are some ancient statues on the lower left there. You can see a picture of somebody with the yoga straps around the legs. On the various other images, you can see people from at least several hundred years ago with drawings of the various yoga shapes and postures. So these traditions date back thousands of years. There's even, I haven't been able to find an image of it, but I understand there's even some images of Egyptian hieroglyphics that include people sitting in these meditation postures. So from around the world, these benefits go back for centuries. One of the things I think about that is that, you know, there have been lots of things that have been done through the years, and then we find out that they don't work. And so people stop doing them. So meditation has also stood the test of time. It's one of the other reasons why I love it. It is one that across disciplines, across cultures, it has continued and sustained and grown. And that's one of the things I usually look for when I'm looking for something that's effective. You know, when it's just Jack over here that says, hey, I got this new thing and it's awesome, it's gonna, you know, do all this and that. No, that's not having research, that's not having millions of people doing it, it's not being consistent for decades and centuries. Okay. So, as I said, there are many different styles of meditation. So you don't need to get caught up in the 1,000 different styles. You know, that's another way that some people get too caught up in it. You do the paralysis of analysis and just kind of study another tool and another tool and another tool and another tool. Just start and do this one. And then we can build out variations over time. All right? So what I'll be teaching here is the principles of meditation based out of the yoga tradition. So the Yoga Sutras are the sayings that have been passed down for centuries that talk about what this yoga thing is. And just going to review them very briefly here, these 8 limbs of yoga that explain how this meditation thing fits in with all kind of other stuff. Okay, so these 8 limbs kind of build on one another, but you don't have to start here and then go there, and you know, they all kind of work together. So the first one is the yamas, the standards of how I treat others. It's kind of thought of as the yoga ethics, if you will. Don't hurt people, be honest, don't steal, don't be greedy, abstinence, you know, finding ways that we can treat each other well. I don't know about you, but when I'm lying, cheating, stealing, you know, I get all stressed out and I get all tensed out and I'm even more stressed and my mind starts racing. And I know it seems like these are things that we all do. Well, have you ever told a little white lie? You know, so have you ever seen something and your neighbor has one of those and you want one of those? So you get a little greedy, you know, or spent a little extra on a credit card, or, you know, all these ways that, you know, we are having dinner and I want that extra piece of chocolate cake. I mean, chocolate cake's awesome, but when we start to treat others and ourselves without certain principles, it can build challenges for ourselves. And so the next one is really, again, how we treat ourselves, self-discipline, purity, contentment, discipline, self-knowledge, study of spiritual, you know, so purity is a whole range of things. One of which is, you know, do we eat some healthy stuff? You know what I'm saying? I've found out along the way, or so I'm told, I haven't actually tried it, that if I put premium gasoline in my car, it actually runs better than if I put maple syrup in my car. Think about it. So what I eat is going to directly impact how well my body can function. You know, if you want a piece of chocolate cake, enjoy, you know what I'm saying? But we've got to make sure that somewhere in there we get a balance of healthy foods. Okay? So once we get our ethics in order, then we can start to get centered. And so the more we get our ethics in order, the next stages get easier. The next stage here, actually asana, is posture, is a series of movements that are set up to de-stress where we've gotten all tensed up. So they're kind of an expectation that we do make mistakes in life, and it's a pathway to start to de-stress where I carry my tension. And in the entire book, the major focus says that the asana, which is what we think about with yoga, that it's all these stretchy things, it simply says that asana is a steady, comfortable posture. Okay, so that becomes important. We'll talk more about that in another slide. The next one is pranayama, which is a fancy word of saying breathing. We did that in the last slide. The next one is pratyahara, sense withdrawal. So at any given moment, we got 10,000 bits of information coming into our brain, and our brain naturally filters some of that stuff out. So sense withdrawal is kind of letting go of some of the sights and sounds and tastes and smells and touch of all the things that we've got coming into our brain, so that we can focus down into something that's a little more focused, which is dharana. Concentration. Concentration just means that you put your attention on one thing. You pick something and you put your attention there. For example, the breath. And dhyana is meditation. Meditation simply means that you put your attention on that one thing and you keep it there. That's it. You see what I mean? This is easy. We actually did that in the last slide, even though I didn't call it that. Okay? Didn't we do all of this? The first thing I said was get comfortable. The next thing I said was take a awareness of your breath and let everything else go. And then just put your attention onto the breath as your point of concentration. And then we kept it there and thought about, just raised awareness about the breath. We just held our awareness there on the breath for a few moments. And even if the mind wandered, and we brought it back again. It's okay. That's all there is. This is a practice of exactly these steps of mental work and approach to life. The last one is samadhi. Samadhi is bliss. This is not one that has been as research-based studied, but there's certainly many people that do experience this. I don't claim to be a enlightened master, a living saint, or anything like that, but the principle is that when I go deep enough to a meditative state, I have sudden insights of understanding and depth and experience. Okay, so we're not kind of here for that necessarily, but begin to understand that these are some of the principles. Notice the other thing that, as we kind of talk through these have nothing to do with religion. These are very secular, although they can also be spiritually oriented, if that is a part of your practice. It's kind of like, these are tools, kind of like turning on a light switch. They're not inherently religious. They are just a description about how you approach things. And in larger conversations, can begin to see how actually many of the major religious traditions actually use very similar principles as they practice some of the practices. Okay, all right. So without any further, let's go ahead and start into this. So how to meditate. You're going to hear how these steps align very closely with the general principles from the 30,000-foot view that we just talked about. Basic steps. Sit in a comfortable position with your eyes closed. Now, by the way, what I'm about to say, most of these are all rules that can be broken. Okay? So we're going to talk a little bit about that, but this is a guide to get you into the place. All right? So do you have to sit? No. Occasionally I'll work with somebody who has back pain and they can't sit for a period of time. It's absolutely okay to lay down and meditate. The risk that you have if you lay down and meditate is that you might fall asleep. Nothing wrong with that, it just means you're not meditating. If you're trying to meditate, if you're working towards your meditation practice, one of the things you can do there is to cross your ankles or cross your legs while you're laying down. It will help prevent you from falling asleep. The key word here in this step is comfortable. Just like I said about the posture issue. You're looking for what's a comfortable posture for you. If sitting in lotus position with your legs crossed funky like that is comfortable for you, then go ahead, enjoy. If sitting on a stool or sitting cross-legged is comfortable for you, enjoy that. If you have not as much hip flexibility or not as much back strength and you want to sit in a chair with the back supporting by the chair, that's all good. Okay, so you have possibilities. Find what's comfortable for you. Now, if you close your eyes, it does help with the withdrawing from the senses and kind of closing out some of that outside external distraction. Some people, for example, have had trauma or things like that and don't feel comfortable closing their eyes. And if that's the case, leave your eyes open. If you're able to dim them or look at the tip of your nose, that can help in that kind of case. Okay. Real important, some people try to like rush and say, okay, now I'm meditating. You know, there's no rush here. It's a process, not an event. Okay. So when you get there, just as we did, move around a little bit, find wriggle. Sometimes you got to wriggle a little bit to find, oh, I thought that, it's like the fish example. I thought I was comfortable, but I just realized that my shoulder was up here near my ear. Oh, I can relax that. If I wriggle around a little bit, I may find a bit of tension that I can let go of. It's all a part of the practice. It's all part of the process about building awareness about when I get tense so that I can intervene and relax it before it becomes problematic. Okay. So the next thing, we talked about this, choose a point of focus. The most common point of focus that people choose is the breathing. Okay. So you watch the breath go in, you watch the breath go out. You watch the breath go in, you watch the breath go out. And that's just a part of the process, and that's what it is. Some other people use some different things. Some people like using a word, we call it a mantra. So you could say Om, 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 or calm, calm, calm. You could say peanut butter and jelly sandwich, peanut butter and jelly sandwich, peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I don't recommend that. It might make you hungry. But the point is that you use a word or phrase that you repeat over and over again, because as long as you're using that word and phrase, it helps to quiet down some of that mental chatter. Okay. The other thing that people practice, another one that people practice is called Pratik, is using a candle flame as the point of focus. So for example, you might sit at your chair in front of a table or something, and you may have a tall candle so that the candle flame is just about at eye level, and you can about 8 inches, a foot away from your face. So you can just sit and gaze at the candle flame. So you don't want to look down if you can avoid it, because then that puts a kink in your neck. So you want to be as, again, comfortable while you're doing it. Now, for many people, this is not the best one to start with, but I am still just mentioning it because if you're able to do it, some people find that they just absolutely love it. So it is considered a gem within the gem of meditation. I absolutely love it. If you do it, the challenge is, which is the hesitation you hear me saying about the new beginners doing it. The challenge is that you're going to sit there and your eyes are going to start to tear and going to fatigue, and then you're going to get distracted by the eyes being itchy and all this sort of stuff. You may start having tears go down your, what do you do then? Do I have to wipe the tears? Let them all get all over my face, whatever. This is a part of the practice. If you practice Pratik, it does, stress-related chemicals are released through the tears, so that's actually a benefit. It is a practice in and of itself to begin to ease through that discomfort as it arises. The light and heat from the candle flame is said to stimulate the pineal gland in the brain, which produces melatonin. All the fancy words aside, basically it makes you sleep good, and that's the chemical that also makes you feel happy. Okay, melatonin turns into serotonin, which is one of the chemicals that helps you feel happy. Okay, so it's a great practice. All in all, the only thing, again, particularly because it helps you sleep, you want to be sure that when you finish your meditation, you blow out the candle before you fall asleep. Okay, and you cannot do this when laying down just because of the nature of it. So, but otherwise, choose the one that works for you and enjoy it. Now, whichever point of focus you choose, you repeat the word or focus your attention on the breath for that desired length of time. I absolutely recommend you begin slow. Start, as we just did, start with 2 minutes. Start with 3 minutes. Maybe work up to 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Someday you may get to 20 minutes. There are actual other chemical changes that occur at 20 minutes. It's called, Herbert Benson out of Harvard calls it the relaxation response, that there are certain chemical changes that begin at 20 minutes. Okay. However long you decide that you want to commit to your meditation, I'd invite you that you split that time in half and instead do it twice a day. Okay, so you have a couple of decisions. There are 3 decisions that you have right now. One of which is, what's my point of focus going to be? I recommend the breath. The next is, how many times a day am I going to do this? I recommend twice a day for shorter periods of time. And the third one is, how long am I going to do this for? Start with a minute, start with 3 minutes, start with 5 minutes, whatever. One of the biggest challenges people have when they think that it's hard to meditate is they think that they're supposed to do 30 minutes. And that's why they don't have time. And that's why it doesn't work for me, because you can't, new beginners often can't start with that much. Start with a consistent practice. You'll be more likely to start a consistent practice if you start with a very short time. If you get to 3 minutes, turn off your timer and just keep on going for a little bit and enjoy. You know what I'm saying? But start with the sitting down and doing it. After you have a stable practice, then you can begin to think about other things. Okay. So once you choose that point of focus and you sit down for your meditation, the next step is when, not if, you recognize that you're thinking, gently return your attention to the point of focus, whether it's the word, the breath, the candle, etc. Okay. So this is what's going to happen. Your mind is going to wander. So if you have an expectation, you're going to sit down and it's suddenly going to be a Zen master, and all of a sudden everything gets silent, and whatever, start floating off the ground. That's not going to happen. Okay, thoughts are going to happen. They're going to come in, and you're going to learn to observe them and set them aside rather than be controlled by them. Or you're going to learn to recognize them sooner, so that when you get controlled by these thoughts, you can take back the reins a little bit earlier. Okay. As you begin to do so, your mind will naturally begin to relax. Without effort, the thoughts are just going to start to settle down. It's kind of like a snow globe. And just like a snow globe, if you sit there and kind of shake it up and say, relax, 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 you can hear the tension there. It just makes it worse. You can't force your way into meditation. It's a passive attitude. Just be still and the snow globe will settle. Those racing thoughts will settle. And when finished, slowly release your attention, slowly move back into the room, and do the best you can to bring that settled feeling with you back into the day. So much like I started early on in this talk, think about what you want to get out of this. And often what we want to get isn't in the meditation itself, it's in the benefits that we carry from that mental awareness as we bring it back into our day. As we become more aware of our heart, as we become more aware of our compassion, as we become more aware of concentration, as we become better able to concentrate and focus, our day changes, sometimes in subtle ways, sometimes in very profound ways. Okay. All right. Now, when you meditate, there are 3 things that you should expect. You sit down, you go inside, you put your attention on the breath. One of 3 things is going to happen. The number one thing that's going to happen is you're going to sit there and sit there, and you sit there and you sit there and you sit there, and all of a sudden your head starts to go. It's like, oops, I fell asleep. Okay. If I was laying down, I'd just be out cold. If I'm sitting, my head's going to fall over and it'll jar me a little bit, and And then I'll say, oh, I can't do that meditation. That made me all sleepy. No, you're probably just sleepy already. All right. If you fall asleep once, no big deal, just you were sleepy. If you fall asleep all the time, you may want to meditate at a different time of day. And you may want to consider that you might just need a little extra sleep. Sometimes we're sleep deprived. If you can't sit still for a couple of minutes and not fall asleep, your body's saying, hey, I need a little bit of rest. You know what I'm saying? So the number two thing that's going to happen is that these distracting thoughts are going to enter your head. So you're going to sit down, you're going to say, okay, now I'm going to breathe. And what's going to happen in there is going to be something more like thought, 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 thought. So, and then you're going to say, oh yeah, I'm supposed to breathe. Watch the breath go in and watch the breath go out. Watch the breath go in and watch the breath go out. I wonder if my breath is supposed to be a little bit faster or slower. I mean, how much longer am I supposed to be doing this breathing? I wonder how long it's been, you know? Oh, breathing. Oh, got quiet there for a second. Oh, breathing. So these thoughts are going to keep creeping back in. But what will start to happen, like the snow globe, is they will start to slow down over time. And so much as I just did in this example, the third thing that will happen is there will be a gap, that space in between the thoughts. They're already there, but they'll start to space out. It's kind of like if you listen to someone speaking a different language, it sounds like they're talking a mile a minute, but they're just talking at the normal pace. And you know that there are already spaces between the words and between the sentences. And as I slow down my speaking, those spaces become more pronounced. This is what it's like with the mental chatter. It'll start to slow down, and that's part of our practice. The other part of the practice is that whenever I notice the thoughts, I just draw it back to the breath. It's kind of like, say that you got here because you were anxious. Well, why am I anxious? One of the reasons I'm anxious, I'm sitting here stewing on all this anxious thoughts. It's kind of like if I was sitting in my couch watching TV and I'm watching the horror channel and they got the scary music going and I'm sitting there all tensed up and my shoulders are up around my ears because something's about to jump out at and scare you. You know, well, that's just what it's like when I'm sitting around anxious all day long, isn't it? Funny, the body doesn't know the difference between fantasy and reality. So I watch a scary movie and I get scared. Okay. So begin to think about this for a moment. If I'm watching the scary movie, can I change the channel? It's kind of like the fish example. I didn't even realize that I'm watching the scary movie and I'm scared. And I can change the channel. If I want to, at any moment, I could change the channel, watch the comedy channel, or the Hallmark channel, or the news, or the whatever, or the documentary, or whatever else it may be. So understand that we are in control of those thoughts and emotions, but only if we bring our awareness to realize that we're in control. So let me say that again, a different way. So you sat down to meditate, the thoughts started yammering along. And we live our lives in that anxiety of those thoughts racing around in our head, telling us that we're not good enough, telling us that we should be angry, telling us that they shouldn't have done that to us, telling us that we should be scared about whatever we think is going to happen, without realizing that we're in control of the channel. So meditation is the practice of recognizing those thoughts, redirecting back to our preferred point of focus, in this case, the breath, so that those thoughts can start to settle down and go away. Very effective, very powerful tool. Okay. All right, so let's talk a little bit about that time myth. Very often people will say, I don't have time to meditate. And one of the first reasons that is usually this expectation that I'm supposed to to do 30 minutes. So the first issue is it's not about meditation, you know, as much as it's about our expectations. If you set your time expectation as I'm going to meditate for a minute, I'm going to meditate for 2 minutes, I'm going to meditate for 5 minutes. You've got 2 minutes, right? Heck, we just did here. You know, it's easy. You have time for this. You have time to do it regularly. You've got 2 minutes in your day. You know what I'm saying? How much time do you spend on, you know, social media and checking this and that? Make 2 less posts, and all of a sudden you got time to meditate for 2 minutes. It's easy. Okay, just don't start with 30 minutes. And the other is to remember that meditation is actually time saving. To the extent that it improves our concentration, our effectiveness, we make fewer mistakes. And so it saves us all that time of having to go back. And how many times have you been working on a project and you click the wrong button and now you got to go back and fix things and undelete and all this kind of stuff? Or it can help with insight as well, so that you can find a better solution that's time saving or more productive. Can it help with relationships? When you're not cranky and rude and mean and you start feeling a little happier, people around you feel better and want to help you more. So by building better relationships, again, it saves us time because we can get things done more effectively, more efficiently without having to sit down and have a fight with somebody. Okay, real important. So we don't not have time for meditation. Okay? Now, one other point of time issue in the steps of meditation, let me just go back here a second. How do I know how long it's been? You know, if you're only practicing for a minute or two, don't stress too much about that. If you're trying to get to 3 minutes, if you're trying to get to 5 minutes, there's a lot of ways you can tell time. One of the most common ways is through music. And so you put on a soft meditation track, you know, that's 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever you want it to be. Okay, when the track is over, you know your time's done. You can also do things like incense sticks are kind of sold in 15-minute and 20-minute incense times. So when the smell changes, you know that the time is up. After a while of doing it, you'll start to recognize, hey, my shoulders feel like this, my back feels like this after a certain period of time. So that may be a cue for you that time is passed. And the other way that you can do it, you can set an alarm of some sort. But if you do that sort of thing, just make sure it is a soft, gentle alarm, so not something that's going to jar you and startle you at the end of your meditation. The goal is about settling down, not about gearing back up. Now, the other thing to kind of notice here, by the way, is that whenever you get stuck, I said 2, but there's actually 3 things that are going to get you out of it that will help you. The first is the attitude of effortlessness. I tried that meditation thing. It was too hard. You can just see this person that would say that and sitting there saying, relax, 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 relax. It's not hard. Just sit, just breathe. That's all there is. It's easy. Okay. When you bring that effortless attitude, not only does it get easier, it gets more enjoyable. It's kind of like if you've ever been to the beach, just go sit and watch the waves, and you just watch the waves move, and you don't have to do anything. Actually, the more you do, it gets more uncomfortable. And actually, by the way, this is one of the tricks of meditation. There's one of the studies out there is a study on meditation and cholesterol. And one of the things that they found was that people who meditated to reduce their cholesterol didn't go down. But the people who just meditated, their cholesterol went down. Let me say that again. If I'm trying to get a benefit, it doesn't happen. If I practice effortlessness and just go meditate, all these other benefits come with it. When I sit there and try to lower the cholesterol, it turns into this relax, 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 relax. Just breathe. The cholesterol will go down. just breathe. The stress levels will go down. You don't have to do anything for it. You don't have to make those little snow globe things settle. Just be still. They'll do it on their own. Effortless. The second one is non-judgmental. We end up recognizing the thoughts, then we get judgmental about ourselves, and I shouldn't have done this, I should have done this better, meditation's too hard, I blame myself, I can't blame that meditation, you blame that me, you blame whatever else in the world. You know, you blame that it was too rainy today, and you know, that darn cat interrupted you, or whatever it was. Just let go of the judgments as well. Just let life be exactly as it is, just for that few minutes, just to practice what that's like. Okay, as you practice non-judgmentalness, life starts to change. And the third, practice. You know, whatever comes up, practice. Tomorrow you may be tired, practice. The next day you may be angry, practice. The next day you may be stressed, practice. Just like going to the gym, if you keep doing lifts, your muscle is going to grow. What you practice, you get better at. You know what I'm saying? So keep up your practice. It builds the strength of the practice. It builds the strength of the approach. Okay. So if you get into trouble with your meditation, don't stop, don't quit, don't give up, don't complain, don't yell at yourself, don't try harder. Just let go and breathe for a bit and have fun for a bit. Okay. All right. So we're going to do one more meditation. And this one's going to be just a little bit different. And let's see how this goes. Welcome to this guided concentration exercise. Take a moment to find a comfortable position, allowing the eyes to close, and allowing the spine to lengthen. Making any little adjustments so the body can be comfortable. Stillness. For the next few moments, just let go of everything from the past, the future, and just be here, now. Draw awareness to the tip of the nose, the movement of the breath, without any judgment. Just notice if the breath is fast or slow, shallow. Perhaps notice that as soon as we observe the breath, we begin to change. Just let go of any attempts to control your breath. Just observe it flowing like the waves of emotion. Perhaps notice if we can let go of any judgments. The breath should be faster or slower, or any way different than exactly how it is. Whatever thoughts we notice, just gently return awareness to the simple observing of the breath. This gentle, passive observation. Continue for a few moments in silence. Slowly body feels different now than it did a few minutes ago. Expand your awareness to notice the temperature of the room, any sounds in the room. Perhaps begin to wriggle the fingers and toes, the hands and feet. Slowly transitioning back into the room. The intention of carrying this feeling with you back into the day. So again, just begin to notice what that was like for you. So that was about 3 minutes. You may begin to notice how it was a little bit different. So you can do things like that that begin to build. You may begin to notice the things that we've been talking about now for the last several minutes, about the steps that we went through, the process, and what to expect in there, how to build that patience and attitude. Okay, so that recording is available. So there are a number of them like that that can be a support for you. So meditation, as I said, the key element is practice. So practice and practice again. I encourage you to continue. In order to do so, my goal is your success. And so I've thought about ways to begin to help and grow that. You can access a free copy of my book, The Management Meditation. You can also go into my Management Meditation toolbox. It's free. It has in there copies, audios of the meditations that are in the book. You know, it's hard to read a meditation and do it. You know what I'm saying? So I recorded them for you. All you got to do, just like that last slide, just press play, and it'll be there with some soft music in the background, guide you through. I'm trying to make it as easy as possible. There's a meditation cheat sheet. So like a one-pager that will say, this is the steps to meditation. There's a meditation research guide, how to do it, and a whole lot more. So if you are interested in that, just click over to the my website, my training website. It's at the bottom of the page, and enroll into the Management Meditation Toolbox. Again, it's free. All you need to do is enroll, so that you can walk into there, click whatever. You can also take the meditations. You can download them, play them on your phone or whatever is convenient for you. Again, it's like the easy button. I just want to make it as easy as you can, because that's the principle. The easier you make it, the more likely you're going to do it, and the more likely you're going to get the benefits. And the more likely you get the benefits, the more you may do a little more and want to continue to do more. So I encourage you to don't end this here. Go get some of these tools and continue your practice, continue to deepen. There's a lot more in the book as well. You know, I just couldn't cover everything in this time frame. So for some of you that want to do that, if you've been to my training website, this is what you're looking at. You just go right on in there. You'll see the one that says Management Meditation Toolbox. Just click on that and it will open it up in there. This is a quick look inside. There is quick instructions on how to do it. There's other things on progressive muscle relaxation, the guided concentration exercise. There's a mantra meditation, as I said, about using words. There is a longer meditation. So as you begin to practice, you can have practices that will take you a little bit longer. And there, in the resources section, there's a whole range of the meditation myths and the research, the various guided meditations, even an unguided meditation. That's just the music alone without me talking you through, so that it's kind of like training wheels. You practice for a while, then you maybe let go of the training wheels and just relax, and then that will just guide you for time purposes. Okay, so check it out, use it, enjoy. If you have other things that would be helpful, let me know. I'll be happy to, I update this regularly, so do check it out. Even if you've already been enrolled in that before, check it out. There's often new things in there. Things move around and add, as materials that people ask for things or other things get developed. For some people, if you want to continue even more, there is an option to continue with me in a new program. I'm going to be doing in January a 6-week course. We'll cover stress, meditation, applications for workplace stress, communication and relationships, and really emotional balance. So all the things that you might want to get meditation for, they'll all be packed in there. So if you enjoyed this, we can dig into it a little bit more often, a little bit more in detail in different areas. Right now, by January, that's going to be about $500. Right now, we're offering it just as a pre-sale. That price is going to continue to go up. So please, if you're interested, if you think you might be interested, grab your copy now, because it's not going to be this low. There is the link down below. If that's an interest to you, go ahead and go and join there sooner rather than later, because right now it's the lowest it's going to be before, as a pre-sale. All right, so let's double check here now. I want to make sure I got delivered what I was talking about. So what are some of the best reasons to meditate? It's established. It's an evidence-based tool. It's been around for thousands of years. Some of the greatest leaders around are using it. What are the steps to meditation? Oh my gosh, I made this really even simpler. Get comfortable and breathe. Easy. I could tell you that in 2 seconds, but if, it's kind of like the Wizard of Oz, but you wouldn't have believed me that it was that easy. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes just understand, you have all these other questions about it. So just go, get comfortable, breathe a couple of minutes, and then practice again and practice again. And over time, you lengthen your time a little bit. And eventually, after time passes, there's some other things you can do along the way. But for right now, that's all you need to know. Start there. Just start. If you don't start, you don't get any benefits. The meditation time myth is that meditation is actually time saving, and we don't not have time to meditate. 2 keys to manage meditation challenges is effortless, non-judgmental, and practice. And why is meditation absolutely my favorite tool? If it hasn't come across yet, it just helps so many areas of my life. I've seen the benefits. I've felt the benefits. When I meditate, I feel like I've become aware of being a better dad and husband and coworker, and more productive, and more the person that I want to be. So I love it, and try it out. And I hope that you'll love it too. And if not, that's okay. There's other tools, and I'll be happy to help share some of those with you as well, and grow you with them, or troubleshoot with you to help find ways to make it be more effective for you. So I love this. I'm always happy to continue on in whatever manner that we do. If you send me an email, I usually do respond. I'll answer questions and answer questions along the way, and whatever format works. And most all the work that I do has been developed because someone asked a question. So every question is valuable and appreciated. So I look forward to discussing with you and continuing this dialogue further. Now, just another thought to think about. With all that you've learned, I will invite you to begin to notice how the next 24 hours are different. For the next 24 hours, just pay attention a little bit. Do you notice that you have a little more awareness of the world? Do you notice that you actually can control the remote control and change the thought patterns? That you can change from being efforting to effortless? Do you begin to notice that you might be a little gentler or kinder, or have a little more hope than you did in the past? If you don't have hope, you won't make changes. So just begin to notice these changes and how quickly and easily they've become. With that all said, I'm going to say again, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for your trust, for continuing to listen to me through all this stuff. Thank you for also your own commitment to yourself and growth, and having a bit of hope that change is possible, and all the things that you want to have, all the things that you want to have in your life, you know, and I encourage you to share that with people you love. You know, one of the most valuable things that we have is the ability to surround ourselves with people who care about us and people who support us and people that see the hope and the possibilities within us. And I hope that during this hour, maybe I was that person for you. And I hope that as you continue on, maybe you can be that person for someone else. So if this is the end of our journey together, again, thank you. And if this is the next step in our journey, I look forward to continue dialogue with you in whatever form that takes. And in the meantime, have a wonderful day, and I wish you all the best. Thanks. Have a good day, everybody.